Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM on the telephone line. I have the Ward Councillor for the Paekākāriki Raumati Community Board, and that's Janet Holborow, who's also our Deputy Mayor. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning, Nigel.
Welcome to the program. Now, I see you've had a great response to help those people out who lost their home in Paekākāriki. It's amazing, isn't it, the support that people get. New Zealanders are sort of touched by these things, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. We've had donations pouring in from around the country on Give a Little. We're up to about $12,500 there now, which should really help them set up in a new house. The really good news is we've found a house for them. Graham Carlson, who was our caretaker in the village, had a home in Paekkariki which came with that job, and that's now vacant. So we're just setting that up and renovating that, the councillors, and they should be able to base themselves there while they rebuild. So that's really good news, and able to stay in the village, because accommodation in Paekākāriki is hard to find, so that's really lucky.
Yes, it is indeed.
It's been it's been amazing too. It's not just the Give a Little campaign. It's been people offering all sorts of help, from the people who gave stuff for the immediate care package that we put together. They took away a bootload of toiletries, new clothes, new shoes, just that stuff that you need straight away. And then we're just going to be setting up another donation drive for household items, and we put together an inventory list for that, and we'll just be accumulating some of that stuff in the garage while the place is rented. So it's all in hand. We've had lots of offers of couches and all sorts of furniture, so the difficulty is going to be making sure we don't have too much, and making sure that it's exactly what they need. What's been also really touching for me is how children have come to the party as well. I had two little girls turn up, one on the day of the fire, and she was about 6 years old, and she'd done a painting at school for them with a message on the back, and it was her visual representation of the fire, and it was just so sweet. And then a few days later, probably a girl of about 10 or 11 turned up, and she had baked cookies with her grandma, and she'd put together some of her soft toys that she didn't need anymore, and she'd made a beautiful card as well. So just gorgeous.
It is indeed. So do you want people to still continue donating goods, or have you got enough by now?
Yes, we're going to need some goods. So we're looking for those locally at the moment. We're going to see what we can just get from around the village. So that'll be on our Facebook page on the village first of all, and then I'll update the wider community on topping up after that. I'll probably put that out on the Kapiti Coast page on Facebook if we need any more of that stuff, or Raumati Community Info. But at the moment, we've got quite a lot of help offered just from within the village, and in terms of picking up and dropping off and things like that, trying to keep it as local as possible, and then we'll cast the net wider to top up after that. So I'll keep people posted about that.
Good on you. Well done to all those who have responded. Now, you also had a housing trust that was set up to help people stay in the village. Is that still going ahead? What's the story? Did you get enough money to keep it going?
Absolutely. Yes, they had a huge response to their first fundraising drive, and are able to look at purchasing their first property, so that the family that initially was the Kickstarter for the program are able to stay in the village. And then they're just deciding what projects to do after that and how to move forward. All the structure's set up, the trust is set up, and I believe they had a meeting late last week or early this week, and our community board representative on that, Holly Jane Ewan, should be happy, I'm sure, to catch you up on that sometime. Okay,
that's good. And Jan Nesbitt's got her safer cycling all sorted out in the Sangsu corner, has she?
Yes. So that was sorted out a month or two ago. So that's as you drive along, you'll see that those cycle paths are finished, and I believe they're up to scratch. What we're trying to do now is improve signage. So we've got some laminated A4 signs that have been put up around the village, and if people need a bit of information about where the cycle routes are, they can go into the village and look for those signs. But what we'd quite like is something just a little bit more permanent, because we've got another couple of years to go before the project's finished, and it'll be just useful long term too to have some spots where there is information about cycleways and potentially walkways as well around the village.
Good. Long-term plan. I suppose you'll be talking about that at next community board, will you? Or have you already got together as a community board and sorted a few things out?
Well, we've got together as a community actually, because a big, which we've talked about before, the seawall is the big ticket item for us in this long-term plan, and so we've been doing quite a lot of pre-negotiation, so that what goes into the draft even is what we want as a community. So we've got a timeline that everybody seems to be happy with. We're going to be sticking with the design that the community decided on for the draft, at least. Now, of course, the wider community now has a chance to comment on that through the long-term plan submission process, and we'll just get through that and see where we get to at the end, I guess.
Good. And the transmission gully hasn't upset your water system down there at Paekakariki, because you rely on your own down there, don't you?
We do. So I don't think there's been any problems with that. I believe there's some issues in the Wainui stream, which I've got to catch up with, and there have been quite a lot of talks going on about fish passage around there. Central government has now got involved through the Minister of Conservation and through the Department of Conservation, so there's talks going on to try and sort out that problem of fish passage in the Wainui. But in terms of our potable water supply, it's been unaffected as far as I know.
Most probably topped up with the rain we've had in the last week or two, Jen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else you wish to tell us?
I think that's just about it.
Good on you.
That wraps it up.
Okay, thanks for your time this morning, Janet. Janet Holborow, she's Ward Councillor for the Paekakariki Raumati Community Board, also our Deputy Mayor.
106.3 Beach FM.